Hello and welcome to our season finale of Weather Watch, Millersville University's exclusive weather entertainment program. I'm your host, Josh Marzak. Let's get started by catching you up with your weather in 60 seconds.
A volcano eruption in Bali, a rare cyclone in the Mediterranean Sea, and severe flooding in the UK are all part of your weather in 60. For the first time in more than half a century, Mount Agung erupted, causing more than 400 flights to be cancelled in Indonesia. The volcano sent a plume of volcanic ash and steam up 3.7 miles into the atmosphere. The last eruption from this volcano was in 1963, which caused it to remain active for the next 11 months. An unusual cyclone with tropical-like characteristics formed in the Mediterranean Sea due to the remnants of Tropical Storm Numa. Cyclone Numa displayed a hurricane-like structure as it made its way towards Europe. Numa brought torrential rainfall in addition to the rain Greece received the week before, causing the worst natural disaster that Greece has experienced since 1977. Finishing up in the UK, torrential rain caused widespread flooding and blackouts across northern Wales. Roads were blocked off and rail services were suspended due to the flooding water. Emergency crews received approximately 500 flood-related calls and evacuated 30 people from their homes. The UK Met Office said about 3.5 inches of rain fell in 36 hours. And that is your weather in 60 seconds.
This past November, Millersville Meteorology had the opportunity to be the lead institution on a project called Student Experience in Airborne Research, which we just called SEAR-MAR. To learn more about this project, Carlton reports.
Millersville Meteorology offers academic excellence in and out of the classroom. This past November, our program was the lead institution for a project called Student Experience in Airborne Research Mid-Atlantic Region, otherwise known as SEAR-MAR. The main facility for this National Science Foundation-funded project was the University of Wyoming King Air Research Aircraft. Students from Millersville University, Penn State, Rutgers University, and University of Maryland were all a part of this project focusing on airborne research. Students received hands-on training with aircraft equipment and numerous research instruments as well. In addition to the King Air, there were many ground-based observation instruments that were set up near the Fry Farm landfill in Conestoga, PA. Here, students were able to launch weather balloons and set up instruments such as a SODAR and a flux tower to support the King Air data. During the 2-week duration of SEAR-MAR, students conducted research on cold air damming, mountain waves, mid-level frontogenesis, methane emissions, and numerous other atmospheric events. We sat down with Bob Capella, one of the student researchers, to learn more about his project.
So as a student working on SEAR-MAR, I got my hands on a slew of observing instruments, including the University of Wyoming King Air Research Aircraft. Off-site, we installed a LiDAR, which is a laser profiler, SODAR, which sends up sound waves to measure parameters in the column. We also installed a flux tower, which takes high temporal resolution measurements. The great part about this project was that we had a hand in every step of the way in designing these experiments. So I developed the climatology looking for features that would influence the region during the project and was able to model those in the WRF model afterwards. And then from there, we had built experiments which included designing flight paths and exploring where we would need balloon support to dive into those obs a little bit more. So during the experiment, when the aircraft was here, as a student, I and all the other students got to participate in daily aviation briefings, so we would brief the pilots the weather. We also got to conduct the science meetings, which helped us decide what would happen the next day. So obviously flying was awesome. On my flight, we were looking for cold fronts in the mountains, or one in particular, and we were flying at about 5,000 feet, and it was really interesting to fly through the frontal zone, see the temperature drop or rise coming back across it. And when that happened, you would feel a little bit of turbulence. It was really interesting. So overall, this was a fantastic learning opportunity. Not only was it great to have our hands on every part of the research experience, but also seeing all the students come together and work as a team to complete these missions was incredible.
Inclusively, over 100 students were involved with this project, and about 60 of those students were from Millersville. Data collected from SEAR-MAR will be used in future research projects and even for potential students looking to be published. Ultimately, SEAR-MAR has provided students with valuable hands-on experience that will follow them as they embark on their prospective careers. Reporting for Weather Watch, I'm student meteorologist Grant Carlton.
Winter weather plays a considerable factor when making plans during the holiday and winter season. We sat down with meteorologist Eric Hörst to hear his winter outlook for the upcoming months. Victoria Middleton reports.
December 1st officially marked the first day of the meteorological winter, and with that, many individuals are eager to know what this winter has in store. We sat down with meteorologist Eric Hörst, the director of the Weather Information Center here at Millersville, to hear his 2017-18 winter outlook.
Well, compared to last winter, we're going to have more in the way of wintry weather and cold air this winter. You know, if we reflect back on last winter, it was one of the warmest winters on record. In fact, the third warmest meteorological winter here in the Lancaster area. And we really just had one major snowstorm in March, and the rest of the winter, very little in the way of snow. So forward to this winter, the weather pattern does look more inclined to bring us shots of Arctic air, though also with a strong jet off the Pacific, there will be opportunities for some warm spells. So it may be one of these winters where if you don't like the current weather, wait a couple of weeks, because a 2-week cold spell may be followed by a 2-week mild spell. And so that up and down pattern, when you average it out throughout the winter season, it could be that we finish up within a degree or two of what is normal here in Lancaster temperature-wise. Now, storm track, I don't see big storms out of the Gulf of Mexico. That's more the stuff of an El Nino winter. And this winter, La Nina is the big player in the Pacific. We're talking about a cooling in the equatorial Pacific that has an influence on the large-scale flow patterns across North America and around the world. And so the prevailing storm track this winter should be off the Pacific into Northern California, into Oregon, and then kind of sending disturbances roughly west to east across the country. So those type of clipper storms can bring us snow, but they can also bring us snow changing to rain, or snow changing to ice changing to rain, or even all rain if the storm goes to your north. So I would expect a little bit of everything in terms of precipitation this winter. And snowstorms not likely to be crippling, but there will be likely several plowable snows and a number of those nuisance storms. So when you add up our snowfall this winter, it may be that we're kind of in the normal range again. The long-term average snowfall for a winter here in Lancaster is 26 inches. So a normal range, we have a pretty big standard deviation. So I kind of say 20 inches on the low end to maybe around 32 or 34 inches on the high end. This winter should fall in that range in terms of snowstorm. And something else, with that storm track running west to east across the country, the areas that are likely to see the most persistent cold and most frequent snows are in the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, into the Northern Plains, perhaps even into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. So above average snow is likely in those locations. Here in Pennsylvania, near average snow, as I mentioned, but in the lee of the lakes, downwind of Lake Erie, downwind of Lake Ontario in northwestern PA and western New York, there could be above average snow this winter. So that's something to watch for. Maybe even an ice storm here in the Susquehanna Valley. This is the type of winter where you could get a storm with cold air dammed in down low. The storm cuts to your north and brings in mild air, and that's a good setup for an ice storm. So just maybe we'll have a significant ice event to deal with. January would be the month most likely to bring that type of storm here, though it could happen as well in December or February. Yeah, so as a wrap-up, compared to last winter, there will be more in the way of snow and cold, though I don't see this setting up to be a record cold winter or a big-time winter in terms of snowfall. Again, without El Nino, it's tough to get a consistent storm track out of the Gulf, and that is the stuff of our snowier winters. So this winter, more snow than last, more cold than last, but still, when you average it all out, probably not too far from what is typical or normal for the Lancaster area.
For snow enthusiasts, it seems there's more to look forward to this year compared to the previous winter. Thanks, Eric, for all the hard work and time you put into every forecast. Reporting from Weather Watch, I'm student meteorologist Victoria Middleton.
Thanks, Victoria. Well, that concludes another season of Weather Watch. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can visit our website, muweatherwatch.com, to view all of our previous episodes. As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to catch us next time on Weather Watch.